Ron, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you opening your garage to us. It's a beautiful setup that you got here, filled with Volkswagens and Camaros. And all the nice old school, like Snap-on posters and stuff too that everybody loves.
I've been sitting here reading things on the walls for 10 minutes, and I don't think I've gotten all the way through everything yet.
You've done one wall then.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, just one wall.
We're here with Ron Poitier, formerly of Lincoln Tech. He was
Retired.
Yes, retired.
Congratulations.
30 years, 29, 30?
30.
30 years at Lincoln Tech, being an instructor of hot rod engines and what else?
Diesel engines and anything else I felt like teaching, really.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long were you at Lincoln Tech?
30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
Jeez, Ron.
Yeah. I don't like the phrase is overused a lot, old school, but I'm kind of old school on that. When you find a job, you work it, and it was a tough time at the school for a while. When I started, there was 293 students.
Wow.
Or 239. I could have dyslexia on that when I'm old, but
it's been 30 years.
Right. But that was what it was like.
What's the school? How many kids are at the
900-ish.
Okay. Gosh.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, right around there. But
I think the max is 11 or 1,300 it could have.
I think
in rotation.
13.
And we worked at, I've worked at, a few dealerships too, and always got Lincoln Tech guys, coming in. I never got through that school. The Germans taught me how to turn a wrench, but but we would always get a Lincoln Tech grad every once in a while throughout our years. I don't know if there's any other school that's like a tech school like that other than like UTI or
UTI. Wild Tech has been on and off.
Yeah.
Those are the two big schools. I mean, the schools are all now like huge conglomerates. Like Lincoln Tech for a while was 30 schools.
Yeah.
But not just automotive. They were electrical, nursing, HVAC,
welding,
business.
Yeah.
There's we won't even get to some of the stuff you could say about that. But
they had online courses.
They had an online that
that we took over.
It was an online area. Now they're going to be using the building, the Days Old area, for Peterbilt training.
Oh, really?
Peterbilt's going to come in, and they're going to train some instructors. They wanted me to do it, but it sounded like too much like work.
Yeah, for sure.
He's retired.
And then they're going to, so the guys would go in there, be trained by Peterbilt. So they go to Peterbilt schools back east someplace or wherever it is.
Yeah.
And then they would come out here and they would then be a trainer out here.
Okay.
They want 2 instructors, no more than 40 hours. The first thing you get is, automatically 3 weeks vacation and health insurance.
Yeah.
Like now.
Wow.
And they're paying.
Pretty good money, huh?
1.5 or a little over what I was making when I left.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
To start.
Yeah. My wife's like, just work for a year. Yeah. They're not going to want to. She goes, yeah, money for us to go on cruises. She goes, well, I'd have to go because you're working. But,
There you go. Perfect. I love it.
But... Yeah, so I said they're not going to want to pay me 3 months to train me, then have me leave like 9 months later.
Gotcha.
I said that sounds like a commitment. You
probably have to sign a 2-year contract or something.
No, it's like and that's what thinks. Oh no, I only want 1 year. It's
That's so funny.
Right.
No one's going to hire me for 1 year.
No.
And there's just
Lincoln.
nobody.
Right.
How in demand do you think? Just Lincoln Tech is now for the industry, automotive industry. Because most of the guys and girls who complete Lincoln Tech, it's a mechanic school basically, right? It's
right.
You do auto body, you do.
They have HVAC, they have low voltage, they have the welding program.
Yeah.
Collision,
auto and diesel, collision,
auto and diesel.
And it's like. So, you bring up UTI, and another one you could bring up would be ACC, because locally, they're just right down here.
Yeah, and those they actually have a pretty good.
They have some pretty good. Jeff Wake works there. He's really good.
Yeah.
Deceptively good, but he's really good.
What's that other one? Bowman Technical Institute?
I don't know.
I think that's another one, too, out by Golden. Mm-hmm. That's one that kids can take at high school. And you can take it
I know which one you're talking about. Red Rocks Community College.
Yeah.
Maybe. But, it's all the schools are the same. to one aspect.
Yeah.
The community colleges, we're paying for them to go, where when they went to Lincoln and UTI, they're paying for themselves to go.
Right. They finance
But
it.
the thing is with schools, is that it all depends on what you put into it. Are you the guy that's sitting in the back of the class or the front of the class? Not that that always matters, but that was always a stigma. The troublemaker sat in the back, the good guy sat in the front.
Well, man, it means, Matt, it all depends on how much paste you guys have left for me to eat, and then I can tell you, where I
Where you're going to sit in the classroom?
Yeah.
You're going to sit closest to wherever the glue is, right?
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing, though,
It depends on the student.
You've got guys, right? What's your attendance like? How much effort you're putting into, and it doesn't really take that much effort. You just got to apply yourself on there. And it's like, are you the guy besides the front and the back of the class? Are you the guy that does that copies the assignments off of your lab partner?
Right.
Or are you the guy that actually does it?
Or when are you the guy out in the lab that's having your buddy do all the work on your car, or are you actually working on your own car?
Right. And the other thing is that, once you get done doing your assignment, are you the guy that asks for more? Because on Fridays they have kind of like an open lab day.
Yeah,
it's for extra, not for extra credit. It's for if you're having a problem in class.
Okay.
So I'd be thinking, I don't care if I got the gold. I'm having a problem in class. If I'm not working, can I come down here and get a little extra help? You know?
Exactly.
And so all the schools have that problem.
Of nobody not wanting to put in the extra effort.
Of the students, half of them do, half of them don't. I've heard stories about all kinds of students and stuff like that. And, the schools, the management mentality is always something different.
Yeah.
I talked to a school that's down south from us on there, and it's like, oh, yeah, man, we have like small block Chevys in engines class. We have them in little roadsters. We run them on the dyno, and one's got nitrous and one's got a supercharger on there.
Nice.
I said, yeah. I said, that sounds cool. And I'm a big hot rod guy. I said, but when they get out of here, they're not going to work on a small block Chevy.
Never.
They're never going to see it.
Ever.
It would be a side job or theirs or their dad's or a friend, something like that. That's what it's going to be.
Or if they went to a hot rod shop.
Right.
But even then.
But the school, Lincoln, uses Mopar 2.4's dual overhead cams.
Okay.
Now, that's the stuff they're going to see. Timing belts, cams, that stuff. So, and the hot rod industry sounds really cool to work on, but how many places are actually hiring?
Not too many.
Right.
And they're hiring high level because,
right.
We had, I was at Pinky's, I would get guys from Lincoln and going through the Kindig program too. So it's a little bit different than Lincoln Tech. But I did have one guy come from Lincoln who was on a military scholarship, and he came up to interview for a job. And man, we were looking at him going, okay, but it's going to still take us years to get him up to speed. It was just such a big difference because it was a craftsmanship thing. He could do everything, turning wrenches, but that would overlap with all the other guys who were craftsmen who also were born, in their dad's shop or something,
Right.
So it was kind of tough. I don't know if you were, Ron, if you were a guy, if you were out of high school, you just loved cars and couldn't get enough of it. Needed to be a mechanic because you're already wrenching on the side of the road in the mud and the rain. And do you say, would you tell that kid, coming into Lincoln, go through the process now, or after you retired, or would you say go try and get an apprenticeship at a dealership right off the bat?
Well, and it depends on which dealer. Do you want to work at a dealership? I did it for a while when I graduated, because I went to it was DADC back then.
Yeah. Right.
But I went there. You know what? But I worked at a dealership, and it is not for me. I worked in this is how old I am. I worked in a gas station in Ohio school where they pumped gas, and I was in the guy changing oils and doing some of the contract work and stuff like that. We had a contract with the post office. You ever seen an oil pan rust from the inside out? Welcome to Michigan. Okay, AMC. They idle so much they don't stay hot in the winter. They get a lot of condensation in there.
Holy shit!
But that's what I did when I was in high school for like a year and a half.
Right.
So. I got a brother who's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
When I was 10, he had a 68 Z20, a 68 Camaro. It was just a plain Jane car, no RS, no SS.
Yeah.
But they ordered it with the high performance, the highest performance 327 that they had.
Oh gosh. Okay. Perfect. So
with
then
a
it's lighter.
Speed,
and
a
it's
12 bolt, and then
Oh my God.
his best buddy, who was a Corvette guy. And my brother was big into Corvettes too. After he got rid of the Camaro,
Yeah.
but his dad worked in the backdoor part of like a small Midwestern company, General Motors. He did
a little mom
R&D
and pop.
for Chevy.
Oh shit!
So what happened was
Good
that
parts came out the back door.
well, so that's what it is. They walked over there and he said, "Okay, here's a camshaft, here's an intake, and here's a carb.
Yeah.
Go-
Put it on there. Don't F it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it.
Right.
Bring it over. I'll dial in the carb a little bit, maybe show you how to do it. But
Holy shnikes.
yes, that car. I mean, it was for a little 327, and a 327 is a nice engine, a little shorter stroke,
I love 'em.
high.
Yeah. Those are
Wide ratio
great.
transmission with a 373 gear in the back of that thing.
Would you take fine, small block. Then let's go nerdy. We can totally go on any tangent. But I just sold a 350, board over with a
355, 358.
Well, 355, yeah, and with a hotter cam in it, a 272, 282 cam, and then and some Edelbrock everything I could buy, I could afford at the time, and just sold it today. But I want to get a 327 because I want something that's more rev happy and something a little bit high, top end kind of a car because. I don't know. I'm not burning tires, and well, I will. But
We will do a smoke show now and again, but it's not the constant.
if you had a dream small block Chevy, what would you do?
Yeah, what would be that dream hot
Come on,
rod
Guru
Chevy?
Ron.
Small
So
block.
if I was just going bonkers, and
Yeah, and pull the mic up to a little bit higher.
So if I was doing it, because I'm not into the LS craze.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I like the Gen 1s. I think they look better.
Okay.
Right.
And everyone's doing an LS engine on there. So I like to be different.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my Gen 1 in there.
Everybody's breathing oxygen though too, and
Yes.
it's because it
Well,
works.
here's the thing on there. We do. But I am never going to win the horsepower wars.
Right.
Remember, I was a teacher.
Okay.
So I'm running on a limited budget.
Gotcha.
So that's just a little 355, and I did that old school. I went over there. My wife's it's over there. That's what I got my TIG welding stuff with. I went over there and I polished the rods in here
Yeah.
myself. I went over. I weighed them and got them real close.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and he's the school's male
Scale.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
The scale.
and
Yeah.
and then I polished the crankshaft. So I wrapped the crankshaft journals in like 3 layers of duct tape. I got an 8-inch DA and polished the throws and
Yeah.
all that stuff
Yeah.
to reduce roping.
Bitch, perfect.
So I did all this little stuff on there. So I mean, that's a very nice engine. I mean, I've got speeding tickets to prove it. Okay, that's not a problem. I can. The
Don't
car
have dyno
handles
slips, but I got speeding tickets. I imagine you got
for a
dyno
first gen Camaro. That car handles exceptionally well. QA ones all the way around.
slips. Okay, tell us all about it too, because I love this Camaro.
Your
I mean,
Camaro is delicious.
it's
yes.
So I run let's start from the.
whenever somebody says, "I got a '67," I go, "Oh, my friend Ron has one," and then I start talking about it too. But
So that's
I love your car.
10 bolt out of a 73 Nova
Okay,
with 12 bolt axles and center section.
and this is okay. But first off, this is a '68
67 Camaro,
67
got vent
Camaro,
windows.
Okay, cool.
So I run that differential. The tubes have been welded over at front range driveline.
Okay.
He says that's good for 5 down to the ground.
Yeah.
Shit.
And I have a friend, Dave, who wanted to put a 12 bolt in his 69, and they told him, "Don't put that differential in there."
Okay.
He goes, "No, I want a 12 bolt. I just want to be able to say I got a 12 bolt. Nothing but problems with it on there." This thing there,
Yeah.
bulletproof.
Okay.
I'm running a 204R transmission, so it's an automatic, but it's overdrive out of a Buick Grand National. Closer ratios in the 700.
Nice.
Two whole speeds then?
No.
Is that right?
4.
It's 4
overdrive.
speeds?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, 75 miles an hour is like 2,300 RPM.
Okay.
Yeah. He said
Jeez.
it's like the closer ratio 700 R4.
Okay.
Closer ratios.
I missed that
Let's
part.
not do the math. We did the math.
We did the
in your
math in
class.
class.
Yes, we
did
did.
mine in my class.
I was in your class during that. Yeah.
So I've moved the shocks, the rear shocks, inboarded the leaf springs to put a bigger tire under there because with the shock on the outside, you can't put a big tire under a 67.
No.
So I moved them inboard,
Yeah.
running the same shock
Yeah.
on there, and then I mini tubbed it. This was
Okay.
before everyone. I saw in Hot Rod magazine. There's a car called you know who Dave Stitlow is?
No.
He works for a small company in the Midwest, General Motors.
Oh, yeah.
He designed the Cobalt, and he designs the Cadillac when they race, 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So he designed suspension.
Okay.
And so I copied this off of his car, what he called the Red Witch, a little bit. So it's a combination of actually a couple of his cars. But I did this one, and I'm running a big tire, 275, and I could run a 295 or a 305 in the back, but I don't have that much power.
Yeah, and
I don't need to. So
and no flares to ruin the beautiful shape of this car.
Single adjustable QA1s, front and rear, and then I took. This is I hate to use it, but this is a really old school setup here. The front end I've modified, and everyone thinks that these Camaros handled really good.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They were terrible. So what happens is I took the upper control arm mounting points. I moved them down a quarter of an inch or 3/4 of an inch and back a quarter of an inch.
Okay.
And that gives me more caster, which has helped my return steering and stuff like this.
Yes.
And it allows it to drive straighter at high speeds.
Okay.
And what happens is now when the tire comes down, the old, on the original car, when the tire went down, it would curve like this.
Right.
Now it comes down straight.
Camber. Now you got
camber curve. It affected the camber curve. So this car handles for what it is. And then it's just a Vortec full roller cam, General Motors engine running a Vortec heads. I'm running the hot 4 cam system on there and valve train. I'm running, a Keyes Black hyperprotective pistons. I'm running like 9.8 to 1 up here. But, and then just an Edelbrock manifold with a tiny Holley carburetor.
Right.
Wow.
And talk about the wheels and tires. That wheel and tire package is delicious.
Wheels and tires, they're 17 inches. I got them from Wheel Antiques. I run the police 4-wheel disc hubcaps on them. The fronts are the standard 8 by 4 1/4, and the backs are a 9 1/2. Where I had to custom make them, they got a 5-inch back spacing to tuck the tire under the car.
They are so awesome.
17-inch rallies. I run
because they look like the old rallies, but they're
That's 17. Right. The opening's a little bigger, so you can see my 4-wheel disc brakes.
Yeah.
I run 98 Camaro front brakes on the front, 97 Camaro brakes on the rear.
Oh, yeah.
And I run a Corvette master cylinder on it with a booster.
Nice.
Gosh,
Stops.
We'll take pictures when we scoot it from the wall.
I know, right?
I run aftermarket. It's a scat seat. It gives me a little more side bolstering, because we drive them up. I got a buddy. We drive them up in the mountains.
Yeah, the scat seats are cool too. I mean, they don't look all
the buddy with the blue Camaro,
ostentatious.
Paul with the blue Camaro.
That one's awesome too.
It is. He's running the same basic combo. His shocks aren't inside, but he's running a T. What is it? A 5-speed.
Yeah.
Manual.
256 something.
But we go from like Morrison Road.
Yeah.
Basically by Bannerman was, and we drive up to Idaho Springs, 2-lane backclop.
Gosh, yeah.
Round trip.
That's pretty.
So fun.
It's a blast.
So fun.
My wife will get car sick, but
yeah. Morrison is so heavily policed. I've talked to every single trooper who is employed by Morrison. On one account, one part or the other. But the right time of night at that Kenyon Road, when you get up to the speed limit and just stay at the speed limit the whole time, it's a real blast.
Yeah. When you're not speeding. Yeah.
No, I got a ticket in Morrison. Just if we're throwing that out.
Yeah.
Not that I'm proud of it.
Oh no, only one.
My wife grounded me. It was a $200 ticket. She goes, you can't drive the car for 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it's like, hey, and my buddies, Paul and
just
Mike.
2 weeks. That's okay.
Yeah, Paul and Mike. Let's go to the car show. I said, okay, come and pick me up. She goes, well, why don't you jump on your car? Is there a problem with it? I said, yeah, I can't drive it.
Yeah, I'm grounded.
So, but and the nice thing is that I got a lead foot. So when we drive that road, we go a little fast sometimes. But the big thing is to be able to, because you got to stay in your lane. Because once you cross a lane, cross that line over there, that's a whole nother story.
Yes.
Ticket wise.
Yeah.
So the big thing, stay in your lane and drive as fast as you can.
Right.
Without switching.
Yeah, because that was always the thing when we were kids. It's like, do you add a new part, or then you go up Morrison up 285 to go test it out, or Turkey Creek Canyon or something like that over there. We have so many.
Lookout Mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
I got
There's
a ticket
so
going
many
down
great.
285 too, going down a big hill going into Bailey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that big long.
Yeah.
It was it was like August. I'm thinking, man, that's such a pretty view, and the car's in overdrive, so there's no engine braking.
Right.
And I'm just looking around, man, those mountains look so nice. I get pulled over, and the guy comes up and he goes, so I have a question for you. He goes, is this a Mustang? Like, oh, dude, how can you pull me over if you don't even know what kind of car it is?
Mustang on the ticket. Yeah.
I didn't think that. I was just embarrassed. It's because my buddy saw you going up, and he goes, there's this yellow Mustang going up the hill. I said, well... I said, how can you be writing me a ticket? He goes, well, I should be taking the car in, so I did give you a break.
Wow.
I said, okay, cool, thanks.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, have a nice day. Another $200 ticket.
Gosh, I've gotten out of some stuff just by being overly polite, and it helps, roll down all the windows, pull over, put on your hazards, and I take my key out of my ignition and put it in the door, and I've done that, and I've done that a couple times, and the police will come up and go, you left your keys in the door? I go, that's out of respect for you, sir, that I don't have the key in the ignition. And that kind of helps. I got a warning out of that one the last time, and I actually got 2 warnings out of doing that. So I highly recommend that.
Well, and I'm very polite to him too.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And I've got my fair share of breaks, where the school is from here.
Okay.
So you're talking 7.5 miles down Bellevue. So going to the school's car show, or on a Saturday when I would do an event at the school, they used to have different events going on, and I would be running the chassis dyno.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm cruising down Bellevue. I'm doing 50, 55. Speed limit is 40.
Yeah.
I'm doing 50, 55. And there's a cop that hangs down there because there's usually nobody there.
Oh,
and he just goes like this.
Yeah.
That hand signal, slow down, buddy. Thumbs up.
It's not hard to do on Bellevue there when it's empty and open. You could just cruise and not even know that you're going that fast. And the next thing you know, there's blueberries and cherries in your rearview mirror.
Yeah,
my wife is always like, with my Volkswagen, the GTI, why do you got the cruise control on? So I won't speed. I go over there and I set that thing, because with the tires I got on there, it's exactly right. I checked it on the dyno, but I locked that thing at 48 miles an hour, and it's there you go.
Yeah.
And they don't bother you, because a typical cop is looking for someone who's going really fast. Not Morrison or Sheridan not included.
Yeah, they're looking for me.
But an average, they're looking for someone who's going really fast or weaving in and out of traffic.
Right.
That's their primary things.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. It used to be 5 you're fine, 9 you're mine. The cop's mentality: if you're going 5 over, you're okay.
Right.
If you see me and slow down from that 5, you're okay. But if you're going 9 to 10 over, I'm going to pull you over.
Right.
Especially if you don't slow down after seeing me.
So it's a rhyming scheme. Okay.
Well,
these guys live on donuts. You got to make it easy on them, okay? Yeah, that's like the planet. Mary's Velvet Eyes make John stay up nights bleeding. It's the same concept here, okay? I've heard they've dumbed down the entrance thing for Denver police.
Oh, so, how could they anymore?
If you're listening, that's a joke.
Yeah. Golly. Yeah, exactly. What's the worst speeding ticket you've gotten? Huh?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, going 75 down that.
Okay.
I've been lucky a lot of times.
In town here, yeah.
When I first got the car done, after I got it aligned, and I was working nights, and I'm coming down Santa Fe, and I was doing 115. So when I hit Union, I was doing the speed limit 55.
Right.
And
Allegedly.
I just no, I was. I just stood on it.
Yeah.
115. And then coasted, and because a friend of mine who works on dirt track cars, he's like, you need to worry about when you let off. That's when you get the air up the front and the suspension changes and stuff like that. I said, yeah, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Not on this.
And I was in overdrive. I'm doing 115. I'm kidding, Denise.
Yeah.
I'm doing 115, and the car is doing what? 4,500, just under 5,000 RPM.
So it's a little more
Mathematically, it'll do 162.
Yeah.
At 6,000 RPM, tires, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Because remember, we did the math in class.
Yeah, what's the rear gear on that again?
This is a 342. It's,
okay.
Like I said, it's not going to be a drag car.
No.
And here's the other thing. Let's look at it. Sadly, Bannerman is moving on there. They're closed down.
Or whatever they're doing.
But the key is that I could race Greg in his truck.
Yeah.
At the level, the speed that this car goes, I'm going to have to dial the number on a window. So it doesn't have to, being the fastest, I got a good friend, Tony Stark. Okay, you hear that, Tony? I'm looking for bonuses here. But he owns the biggest speed shop in town, On Track Performance.
Oh, On Track is the best ever.
Yes.
I love that store. Because I'm the dumbest guy when I walk in. I'm the dumbest guy there.
Because you're just enthralled with all the awesomeness?
No, because everybody's smart behind the counter. And so, like, versus every other auto parts store that you go to. And I'm like, I'll buy my air fresheners from those parts stores. And then,
I go to those parts stores when I have the part number.
When I have oil.
Yeah.
They don't have Volkswagen clamps, so I can't go to On Track.
I know, it's a shame.
But I almost got a job there. I mean, I was kind of disappointed with the school, and I was talking to Lee, Tony's dad, and it was just like, "You think you can do this job?" I said, "Yes, I know I can do this job."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Can you give me an example?" I said, "Well, there's a friend of mine who drives a 68 Camaro. It's got a 565 big block in this thing, okay? 900 horsepower or something like that." And so Omis is like, they went over there, and I said, so Omis wanted to go with a drag spring.
Okay.
We need to go light a drag string. Well, what's the stock spring rate? And everyone's like, I don't know. I said, what's the stock spring rate on that car? And he goes, I don't know. I said, 317 or 328. Does it have air conditioning? He's like, well, it's a big block car. I said, they just add another coil to it. He's like, oh, okay, wow. Yeah.
Wow. You're like Marissa Tomei and my cousin Vinny.
So he was, we were to the point that we were working on insurance. This was everything but a done deal. And then my wife found out that I work on commission. She's like, "Oh hell no! Oh hell no! I can't afford that."
You'd kill it there with commissions, man. I tell you what.
I've known Tony since he's like 10 or 11. I've known his wife since she was like 6 or 7.
Gosh, yeah.
Wow.
There's a story there, but we're not going to go there.
They're On Track Performance is just
you can get the side eye from him.
Santa Fe and Dartmouth, just maybe like 2 blocks west of Santa Fe and Dartmouth. It's a great store for go fast parts and everything.
The speed shop out of the old days.
Amen.
Yeah. Like if you ever went into the super shops, those guys were pretty stupid, hence the name Stupid Shot on there. But it looks kind of like that, parts scattered on the wall. They got parts in the back. They got an engine dyno. They got a big old area. They've got like 4 race cars. They've got 4 engines, 2 743s and 2 733s that they use in their drag cars, supercharged.
Wow, man! I hope that they live forever, because it's like, there's always something that I just don't know what I'm doing, and I have to go down there and I ask for it or get fittings or anything like that, buy some AN stuff, and they have it all, and then they make suggestions for you too. It's like, are you doing this? And then you go, yes, and they go, why are you doing this? and then they'll get you the right part, and change your intentions, which is pretty good. So
that's what you should think about doing instead.
Yeah, exactly.
They're very polite.
No, it's perfect. Yeah,
but I've known those guys. It's like I go down there and I'll talk to Lee, and I'll talk to Lee for like 20 minutes. If the shop is slow, I'll just go down there and talk to him. And like I said, I've known Tony forever, and so it's his father-in-law, his wife, everybody.
Gosh.
So Sugar and I have been talking about getting people into the car world. Last week we talked about him putting a certain individual into his 5-speed vehicle who had never driven a 5-speed vehicle, and got him to actually drive it. And he's like, "Oh, I get it now. I get it. I see why there's this 5-speed and why people like it." How do we get more people to go to Lincoln Tech? How do we get more people to go into the automotive trade? What is it that is lacking? What was you as a former instructor?
I've done my share of recruiting. I used to work all the Denver Auto Show. I'm willing to bet out of anyone besides the rep, I probably got more students to go to that school. They come by with their parents. I start talking to them. They have demo units there and stuff like that. Just go over there and talk to them. And people just want to know that I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because when they put the reps there, the reps don't know. If I'm there with the reps are like, well, here, Ron, come over here.
Right.
Yeah, you could get disillusioned real quick with the wrong recruiter.
I found that to be the case also as the instructor talking to a potential student, air quotes, right? They were more inclined to be, I think I'll sign up for it after talking to me versus talking to Sterling.
Oh, yeah.
Because Sterling's just the salesman. He's like, I'll tell you what the highlights are and what we can offer and stuff.
Right.
Whereas you and I are like, this is actually what you'll be doing in the class. This is what you'll learn. And says key phrases that sparks the student going, that's what I want to learn.
Right. Like I'd be teaching diesel engines, and then we'd be giving a tour on there, and they're going over there, and I'd like uncover the engines. Okay, this is my class, and this is what we're doing, And you go over there, and I would have stuff over there. You ever measure something? Here, try to measure this.
Right.
I would go over there, and I teach gas engines too, and I'd go over there, I'd fire up the dyno, I'd get it going, and then I realized that this might make me sound a little creepy, but it's not really. But who's the hardest person to get involved in a school, would you think, out of a young person?
Oh,
Females. They're the ones, they'll go to the school and they'll take a look, but they're the ones that are typically least interested. So a lot of times I would go over there, depending on what it is, I would get 2 people, let them actually run the dyno. So we would go in there and I'd put them in there. So I would let a guy do it, and then I would let one of the girls do it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, wow, this is really cool. Dad was like, man, that was really, can I do it? Then I got to let everybody do it, okay? We did this kind of on a, because I would go over there, pick a number,
Right.
go like this, I'm from Detroit, I'm a hockey fan. Quick, what's Gordie Howe's
Jersey number?
Okay?
3.
It's 9, so it was just like, but pick a number, something like that, So
yeah,
but,
and girls love Gordie Howe. I mean,
well, I don't know about that.
I can't think of a single girl I haven't talked to who doesn't bring up Gordie Howe in polite conversation immediately.
But that's all part of the fun,
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be over there talking, Dad, what's Gordie Howe's hockey number? What's Gordie Howe's number? And
So
their dad's like, who?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just, there's a lot of ways that you can do it, but the big thing is having a rep that knows just a little more than a little bit about the school.
Yeah.
And you got to go to the certain area. You got to cater. And this is like anything else, you're gonna. If you talk to 20 people, if you get one to sign up, congratulations, you did a good job.
Absolutely good.
I've actually done it. This is verifiable by Donna on there, where I did a Denver auto show, and 3 students that I talked to. Now, how long they stayed, I don't know, but 3 students signed up.
Right.
I talked to this guy. We used to go up to KBPI, the Rock and Car Show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then,
same opinion.
But
time you say
we would have things there, and like I would bring stuff. So when we went up to the Rock and Roll Car Show one time, I brought a small block that they have at school, and I showed them how to degree a camshaft.
Okay, cool.
Oh, nice. Right there in the parking lot.
Right there in the parking lot, under the tent.
Nice.
This is it. Show them what's going on there.
How do you not pull students when you demonstrate like that?
And then I would leave, and then they would say, "What are you doing with this?" And the reps are going, "I don't know. Where's Poitier?" He's up there eating free food in the tower.
Yeah. Golly. So
is his trunk open? Well, then he's up at the tower.
That's great. So then, have the students changed now since? In the last 30 years, I imagine they're all the same.
Yeah, sure they are. It used to be when I started there, you would have one bad student, maybe 2, or one that corrupts another one kind of thing, and that's what they would do.
Yeah,
and then you have everybody good. Now, if you got a class of 30, if you got 5 really good students,
you're lucky.
You're lucky. Talking good students. Then you'll have that whole middle of the road. Yeah, they're kind of here. Then you got the whole back row that's like, my mom told me I got to do something or she's going to kick me out of the basement.
Okay.
Like the one student whose dad worked there, and he was.
Yes, exactly.
He just showed up for class and.
Right. Yeah, he went over there. He got a job at RTD, and his dad's like, "Where's all the tools?" Well, I don't know. What do you mean? He lost all the tools that he bought at the school. He had none of them.
Gosh.
Oh my God! How do you lose them?
Well, shiny, brand new tools are slippery. So
yeah. Yeah, so and he doesn't care. Dad's paying for everything.
Right.
It's none of the stuff. None of the money for that school went out of his pocket. So he had it was nothing to him. And he got a class doing painting and stuff like that. And I was in the painting class with him. If he was like the rest of the classes, this guy doesn't know squat.
Oh, what a shame.
Yes.
because there's other kids who are dying to get in there, and try and but couldn't afford or whatever else, or they're too far away.
There's
and
another student that could have taken advantage.
Could have taken that place. Yeah, that's.
Well, there was still room, but it's just disappointing that he got this for free, where everybody else was paying what $30,000 or $30,000 to $35,000.
Yeah.
And he gets it for free, and he loses the toolbox, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him paint.
Wasn't that good? I saw him paint too.
It's usually like a 9-month program when you go in. Is that how?
I thought it was 13 months. The collision was.
Okay.
What's the auto program? Isn't that 2 years?
I mean, you guys are putting me under a lot of pressure here. I don't really. I think it's 15 months. They won't allow me to buy the money. I don't really watch that stuff. I teach 2 classes. That's my.
I got you.
I run the dyno. I do that stuff. But,
okay, we'll look up on the website, I guess. Then, but
I really miss dyno days, Ron. I miss doing the dyno.
That was so much fun, getting a car up on the dyno and not quite getting it strapped down right, and everybody yelling and screaming.
Learning how to do it.
Learning how to do it, and then.
I want to put my new truck on there and see what it does.
Can we tell the Camaro story?
Yeah. There's no NDAs anymore. Because
Kindig Academy was so great, and we had the dyno day when we were all there, and they had rented a Camaro for us to dyno.
The directing manager, whatever dude, rented the Camaro off of Turo.
Yeah.
And he had it all detuned and chipped and monitored.
Well, it had GPS tracker on it or whatever, and had a bunch of something else in the OBD2 port that would go right to the owner's phone, and he's renting his personal vehicle on Turo, and we had as a class had rented it from him. The Camaro comes to the shop, and he's looking at, and I guess the guy, owner of this Camaro, it's like a 2018 Camaro.
I think it was, yeah.
And and it's on our dyno, and he's like going, why is this car going 118 miles an hour or whatever?
Inside this building.
Inside a building.
Why is it in this building? What are you doing to my car?
He's getting flashes and alerts on his phone like crazy because we had it on the dyno. We're dyno testing
engine is doing this. The car is doing this. And the GPS isn't moving.
Yeah, right. And then it starts throwing. And then
and the ABS light is on.
Yeah. And he remotely... Yes. Amen. He remotely shut it off, too.
Yeah.
From his phone.
Yeah.
So
came to the building,
screaming and yelling
inside the building like he owned it.
Yeah,
and was confrontational with Sterling. And Sterling's like, "Hey man, we didn't know. We were just seeing what it would do." Just acting totally dumb about it. And
well, that wasn't that hard to do.
But then guy leaves with the Camaro.
So good. Yeah, canceled the.
And then every time Sterling came to town, he's trying to rent like a Charger GT or something so we can.
That's his daily.
So we can dyno it. He's such a dork.
God bless him.
But we got to dyno some really cool things like. We got to sit in when you did Paul's Camaro once. We brought my other friend Ron's Camaro down and did some fun pulls with that. Some student cars.
And it's such a good. It attracts so many like a crowd. It's a crowd pleaser because people are just standing there because you got the graphs are projected on the wall behind it too. It was such a cool part of the school.
It's almost as big as a movie theater.
Yeah, better. Yeah, because there's danger involved, and it was really awesome.
And it's loud.
One of the funnest dynos that I've ever done down there, and I've dynoed a bunch of cars. I can tell some dyno stories here in a little bit.
Yeah,
but when we did, I can't remember what his name is with the Miata.
Oh yeah, when we took the cold air off and put the stock factory back on.
So this guy had got this Miata, and he was doing. This was one of the best collision students out of that school that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
he was doing everything right. Everything right. You looked at it, and we've had that discussion. You know?
He changed.
And it might not be a Miata. It might have been something else. I think
it was the Miata guy.
But so they had done some work to it, and he put a standalone system on there in the car. And he goes, "It doesn't run really good," and because it sounds funny, it doesn't accelerate like I thought it would. We put it on the dyno, and I looked. He did a pull, and I looked at the computer. and I says, "This is what's wrong. You have too much advance. So take this whole block right here and take it from." This to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We dropped it down, and man, the sound of the car, the next pull
sounded.
He picked up this. So this guy ended up picking up no more horsepower, but the torque curve on that thing jumped in the middle. I
Okay.
mean, the engine revs so much faster.
Gosh.
You could tell that the engine was happy because what's going on is when you have a lot of advance, the piston's trying to come up, but it's firing too early, so it's slowing the piston down.
Right.
And the car and the engine, it sounds lazy.
Right.
And we just retarded the timing on that thing, and it, like I said, it just was like. And then I said, you know what to do? Keep playing with it. And they must have played on that dyno for, I don't know, 4 hours.
He had his laptop in the car there with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
4 hours they were on that thing trying until he could get it.
And then we took that stupid K&N off and put the factory one on, and he picked up like 10 or 15 horsepower.
It's possible. I've done that before. You know,
It was crazy better.
People go over there and they put cold air that the filter's on the engine compartment, so it's not really cold air.
Right.
And we put it on the dyno, and it doesn't pick up anything.
Right.
Put a big fan on there.
It's so stuck. It sucks because it looks so much better, a cold air intake, and the shinier the better. And it's like, but
Chrome don't get you home.
it just seems like, how could this not flow better? You know, because it has no seams, it has no gaps. It's like it's pretty, and it says, you know.
And you know what I
Everything
did
but Pep Boys on
with that thing? I went over. I said, "I'll tell you what." I says, "Can I ruin your stock intake on their filter housing?" He goes, "Yeah." So I brought my Dremel in there, and I cut all the stuff out except where the filter goes.
Okay.
On there, they got all these baffling because the last thing grandma wants to hear
Yes, is a no.
a lot of noise coming out of that thing. So we cut all that off. We put a K&N filter on there, and he picked up 3. Where with the aftermarket one, he lost 2.
Okay.
So he gained 5.
Yeah, I said, congratulations, you just spent $125 to lose 2 horsepower.
Okay.
And this is not like one run. This is a consistent. We did 3 runs, and he lost 2 to 3 horsepower on every one. Where with the other one, he picked up, you know.
Does flipping your air cleaner lid over upside down, does that
On a GM.
does that help horsepower?
It does.
Because it sounds better.
It does, man. It's cars are very visual and very sound based thing. And when you're 16,
Absolutely.
16 and 17,
Hell yeah, dude.
that's,
I got to hear that quadrijet open up. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. So yeah.
Good.
We did
I'm glad that the professor says so.
another test that we did with Paul's car on there. I used to run a 670 on my carburetor, 670 Holly.
The Holly 670.
Street Avenger.
Yeah.
And it ran really good.
Yeah.
I didn't have no problems with it.
No.
On there. And then so Paul had a 570. I told him he'd get a 570 for his car because there's a mathematical formula. He runs a 327.
Yeah.
We're at the altitude, so the volumetric efficiency is down.
Yeah, when you're a mile
on there.
up here.
And then, this is my big thing because everyone always says, well, I did the math, we won't even get into the formula, but it's like it's cubic inches times RPM divided by 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives you what the CFM should be, but again, volumetric efficiency.
Yes.
So, 90% is being very generous, especially at this altitude.
Yes.
So you do that with a 327, and it wants like 601.
Right.
Something like that, maybe a high 500.
So a 570 would be great.
Right. And so then what we did with Paul's car is my car, this was in my car, was in the body shop. We took my carb off, we put it on Paul's car and did the exact same test.
Okay.
Picked up no horsepower.
But how much torque?
Nothing practically. Nothing.
Huh.
So then I had because we knew we were going to do this one. So I had a 750 that I have up there. Okay. And they're all these are all jetted. So we jetted them to make sure that they were all going to be
happy.
Right. Like on my car and his carb, they're both 350s basically. So we didn't have to mess with that one. On that one, we jetted it a little bit. On that one, we saw no more horsepower, and the torque was down.
Huh.
The best reading we got. So there was no horsepower between a 570, a 670, and a 750 Holly.
Okay.
On the car.
Wow.
Timing didn't change. We tried that too. Timing didn't change. But with the 570, you have a better vacuum signal, and the torque is actually a little bit higher consistently at the bottom end of the curve.
Interesting.
And so this is the thing, you do the formula, when you work it out there. And then everyone says, because we were at a car show, Memorial Day, the Applebee show. I don't know if you've ever been to that one. There's only like 800 cars there.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, and then they have the same one in Labor Day.
Oh, nice.
So and it's a big show, First Bank, Applebee's, all that stuff. Some guy's over there and he goes, yeah, I just got my engine together. And it's like, and one of the guys is like, what carb you got? And he goes, I put a 750 on there. I'm thinking, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Have fun with that.
It's the tip in is late. That's when when you switch from your transitional slot to your main metering. So it should happen around 2,500 RPM ish on there. Even mine was like 26 on that.
Okay.
But the 570 is now like 24, 2350-ish, right around. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly with a tack on there.
Right.
But that's with having a tack in front of me, watching where the tip in is, which is always exciting, leaning over a carbureted car with no air filter on it, trying to watch when it happens when it's running.
Smart. Yeah.
But
Don't lose your balance.
Safety first.
Always.
But yes, the vacuum signal. I picked up over an inch of vacuum in my intake manifold. I've lost no horsepower, and I picked up a little tiny bit on the low-speed curve.
That's amazing.
And so let me go. I know what it's going to tell you here. The joys of being 66. You do the formula. It tells me that I want 600 and on mine it's like 617 CFM on there. How much time do you spend at 6,000 RPM?
None. Well,
You don't. I mean,
I would, but.
Well, no, see, here's the key. You say that, but here's the key. Because this guy said, he goes, I'm at wide open throttle all the time. I said, whoa. I'm not asking about wide open throttle.
That's different.
Because wide open throttle at 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000 is different than there. So, you might take it up to 5 at wide open throttle and then shift.
Right.
How often do you really take it to 6,000 RPM? And at 5,000 RPM, this car wants like 501 or 490.
Okay.
So when the carb is carbed on the small size.
Yeah.
And now this is for a street car. On a drag car, you're looking at a different scenario.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for a street car, I drive up in the mountains, man. I want low speed throttle response. I want good vacuum signal.
Yeah.
And I picked up that carb for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Dyno engine. So
I love it.
So
Well, yeah, that's a good way to get.
It's a very effective way to get parts.
Yeah, I'm still gonna say the bigger is better, and I'm just gonna get a 950 something on everything. It'll be fine.
You know what? So let's go over something that I was taught when I was like
283.
Remember, my brother's 10 years older, so he's now 76.
Okay.
2 Corvettes, but an all-around great guy and quite smart.
Yeah.
As far as that stuff goes, he does some goosey stuff, but that's a whole other story.
That's a lot of compliments from one brother to another. Yeah,
but it's just so funny to what people do to cars. Mm-hmm. But this is what he told me. He goes, you know what? He goes, there's no wrong way to do a car. Yeah. You might not like what that guy did with that car, low rider over there. You might not like that. He goes, but what you need to do when you're looking at cars, and it doesn't matter, okay? Mm-hmm. What is the paint like? What is the stance like? Because stance is everything, pretty much, And then, how does it sound? Do you break the car down? And it doesn't matter. You can look at my Camaro, and I could look at a nice Honda Civic, and I can compare them.
Oh, sure.
Okay, right. His paint is better than mine, but my interior is better than mine.
Right.
Now, so when you're looking at a car, and trying to judge it, I don't like Hondas. Well, you know what? That's at this point here, is your car electric or is it gas? We're past that automatic manual conversation there. Okay. So,
well, yeah, I mean, like we had a conversation quite a few podcasts ago where it's. Don't sleep on lowriders. They're amazing. And if you're a hot rod guy, you can never disrespect rightfully a lowrider, because they are more paint, there's more effort, there's more time and more artwork in there, even if you don't.
It's a rolling piece of art, right?
It's a gorgeous. I mean, the lowriders are almost always the best part of the hot rod shows.
Usually, yeah.
Now, I'm from Detroit, and my brother and my nephew are in a car club, Road Devils.
Yeah.
On there, and there's a guy. He's got a '59 Impala. It's root beer brown.
Yeah.
Lowrider. The whole air setup on that thing. I mean, this car is gorgeous. And, when he takes it out, he does the whole thing. He dresses kind of the part, the flannel shirt
nice
down here, stuff like that. Greatest guy. This guy's he designs watches.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
There's a company called Shinola.
Oh, yeah, sure.
In Detroit.
Yeah, for sure.
He works for them.
Okay,
He's a watch fan, yeah.
Yeah, so he does that one. But this car is, the paint on this thing is gorgeous. And the paint that they put in there, and if they do it right, because you see bad designed hot rods on there, but if they do it right, the engineering, the plumbing, the battery work, the air stuff on there is just, the suspension, because you can see it, is just incredible. And it's not my cup of tea. I would never own one.
They gold plate everything. Right. They etch designs into everything.
Right. It is not my cup of tea, but I'm thinking that is some serious man hours. And whoever put those man hours in there did a good job.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's impressive.
That's what you recognize, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And you can find some beauty out of almost any kind of car culture. And I love how crazy wild it is. And, it's it's fun when you get a niche and then you can go, if that niche is just, an inch deep, then it's not fun. It's like it's your cold air intakes on your Subaru WRXs and that's it. But when they start going really nuts and they know who Colin McRae is and they start going deep and deep, then I can even start respecting Subaru guys. But
it's all about the work. It's all about the craftsmanship on that stuff. Because I know guys that have Subarus and they I don't know who they paid for a tune on it, but the car runs hot. They have all kinds of little drivability issues like that on there. We got guys that send it to Cobb or something like that, or had someone that really knew what they're doing on there, and the cars are just ridiculous fast. They handle really well.
400 and 500 horsepower.
Right.
I thought Cobb only made stickers for your window because I haven't.
They do more than that.
I know they do. I'm being sarcastic.
I was heavy into a phase of import cars, and I never really have lost it. It's just kind of fallen away because I don't see it that much.
Right.
But
you're surrounded by VWs.
I was just going to go there, but
okay. Sorry.
And I switched from the Japanese import cars to the German cars. I've always been, old Chevys and old Volkswagens.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. I didn't tell you this. I was at Clement Park. They have this big Volkswagens on the green.
Been there a million times. Oh, yeah.
Were you there this year?
Probably, yeah. This last year I didn't. I drove past it.
Oh, okay.
and I couldn't slowly, honestly, because
people
I couldn't.
Honking.
Yeah, it's a lot of traffic and it's fun, but I do love that show.
So I always call it I served time in SoCal.
Okay.
I worked there. The job was great. I just 3 hours to drive to work when it's raining, that kind of stuff. But I bought this Baja Bug, Volkswagen. The back bumper was connected to the front bumper to the roll cage.
Sick.
Sunroof car, bus transmission, all the hot stuff. And this car was built in like the mid 80s. So, this car was a prototype. Okay. The fenders were so strong you could stand on them.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I was at a car show up in NoCal one time, and I put my car in the car show because I didn't want to leave it in the parking lot for pick-up parts.
Right.
Okay. So I'm over there, and I'm sitting on the fender because they're drag racing, and all of a sudden this guy comes up with a clipboard. He goes, it doesn't say it in the rule book about you standing on your car, but you're not supposed to be around your car when I judge it.
Yeah.
So I guess standing on your car doesn't, But everything on this car was it had a custom luggage rack, and again, it was a sunroof car. Okay. So I would go over there like 4th of July and stuff like that. I'd put a tire up there and bring a couple pieces of rug, and I would climb up and I would sit on the spare tire in the luggage rack with my feet down there watching the fireworks and stuff like that.
Delicious.
I had a little black lab, and I used to put her in the back all the time. I took her everywhere with me. Yeah. I'd leave the radio on because it was just like, you left the radio on. She likes oldies. Okay?
Right.
But it was funny because there would be a bar going right above the door, and I would leave the windows wide open. They'd put their head in there, and the dog would growl. They'd go, bam, and smack the back of their head. People would do that, and I would go over to like my friends, watch this. It was like a game. How many could we catch?
That's so funny. That's a good show. I mean, they used to have these like weirdo like 411s or the other Caramanguias and Brazilias and stuff like that. They got some really wild stuff that show, and in so many camper vans. It was amazing.
Nice.
You know? And you go, oh, that's a $250,000 camper van, and this is a $10 camper van. You know, and they're right next to each other. It was so fun. Volkswagen shows are so hugely
diverse.
Diverse. Yeah, on them, and every once in a while a 912 will sneak in or something like that.
Because it's Volks, Volkswagen, and Audi. Yeah. But where I was going to go with this before I lost track on here, you know, welcome to being 66. I saw my old Volkswagen there.
Hey,
Really?
No windows. The guy took it, put a Type 4 engine in it, which is a big, what they put in the buses later on and stuff like that.
Yeah, the 2376?
2 liters, but it was a 2.6 liter.
Oh.
But he had more roll cage put in there, and he raced it. And it was there. And I'm walking by that car, and my buddy Gary, he goes, look, man, like, the car's got no windows. There's the back window's got, what's that? And I went over there, and I go, well, that's the filler. And the fenders.
Right.
I went, hey, dude, whose is this? You know, I went over there. You know, this was my car, and I show him a picture. Yeah, look, this is my car. You know, it's not about the car, but you could see it.
Right.
And I said, there was a heater under there. He goes, yeah. He said the guy, you know, he was from SoCal, put a heater in there. I said, yeah. The one over there? I said, right there.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking, and I'm telling him all this stuff, and he goes, it had to be in your car. I said, buddy, I know it was my car.
That's great, man.
It's good to find your car like that.
That's a huge deal.
And it looked beefy. I mean, it was beefier than when I had it.
Nice.
It was nice.
Man, all my old cars get taken into museums, you know, put on display. Mostly because people admire them so much. So that's cool that they still drive yours.
Which is better than the other reason they're in a museum, because they won't start or run.
Or because you died tragically. Now we're memorializing you.
There, but we're going to pick up again next week, because if you're like me, man, you could listen to Ron Poitier talk for another hour. So we're going to give that to you next week. Stay tuned for part 2. We're going to split this up into 2 episodes. Guys, thanks so much for subscribing, listening to this show week after week. We're really starting to build momentum, and we really love that you guys are listening. Thanks so much. And also, in our description, on the episode descriptions, you can actually text us directly now. So that if you have a cool car story, you want to get in contact, or you have an opinion about something that we've said on the show, please get in touch. We'd love to hear it. Thanks so much, guys. See you next week.